Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Eye Opener Society. Welcome back to another bonus episode that I got for you. I appreciate everybody that tunes in, joins us here. It's really, really appreciated. You don't know how much. I'm doing this bonus episode because this episode took probably 4 years in the making. We reached out to each other and we wanted to do each other's show. And just because of the time zones and getting up really early in the morning to, kind of get everything together. But we still talked about this. And we were supposed to do this way back when my stepdaughter Hannah was co hosting the show. Unfortunately, Hannah cannot be here, but I am here with someone who I'll set this up. Back when I started podcasting, I was searching podcasts to actually listen to myself, something that was going to resonate with me. Well, I tuned into the Bell Witch podcast, and I remember it clearly because it was probably right around late spring. And where I was living then, I was sitting outside in the peaceful air, relaxing, had my speaker going, and I tuned into the Bell Witch podcast, and I was immediately drawn in. It was immediately relaxing to me. And I do believe the episode I was listening to was actually talking about meditation, and that's why it resonated with me. Well, 4 years later, I'm still listening to the Bell Witch podcast. It's an award winning podcast as well. And I have for you the host of the show, Emma Swailes, coming from Leeds, UK. Emma, welcome to Eye Opener Society. How are you?
Now then, amazing. Thank you so much for a lovely introduction. It's great to be here. It has taken me a long time because, as you know, I am quite a busy, unorganized witch. But also, I think my confidence wasn't there yet. And this past 6 months, I've really dived into being brave and peering on other people's podcast episodes because it is hard when you've got your own. You want to be in control of it. I mean, I know you guys don't edit, but I definitely over edit at times. I'm quite strict with how I speak and stuff. So it is a leap of faith, trusting another host to make sure you come across okay.
Mhm. I don't think you're going to have any problem whatsoever. This is a show where you come, just relax and just be yourself. And that's what I admire so much about you, that even though you are busy and you do, edit your own show and, you have things under control. And because of that, you did win an award. So why don't we start with that? Why don't we start telling people a little bit about the Bell Witch podcast and how it started and where it gone and a little bit about it?
So I only really got into podcasts 3 years ago. I was listening to one that abruptly stopped, and I was sad it stopped. So I was pestering the host, like, "Why have you stopped?" And she said, I just don't want to do it anymore. Why don't you do one?" So I was a bit like, "I totally should, but how?" Because I know nothing. So I've just been learning as I go, and I absolutely adore podcasting. Like don't you? The magic it brings, and the ability to use your voice and have people value that voice is massively rewarding and very magical from me as a witch. Like it really does enhance my spirituality and my understanding of the world. And I get feedback and I learn from it and I meet people, amazing people and opportunities. So I became pretty obsessed very quickly. And now it's something I want to do all the time. And I am looking into being a professional editor. I've got a lot to learn, but I think I'm not too far away from that now because in all honesty, I think I enjoy the actual editing process a tiny bit more than the recording. I mean, it's pretty balanced at the moment. But yeah, I absolutely adore the Bell Witch podcast. It always grows and never ceases to amaze me what I learn because I'm learning on the job with the listeners. I'm not an expert. I learn as I go. All these things are just so beautiful. Love it.
Yeah, and your show, like I say, it's witching in the 21st century, and that means a lot. I'm a practicing pagan. That's what I've been for, I don't know, last maybe 20, 25 years or so. My first wife was Wiccan. So I was, you could intertwine the two of them together. But I think what people don't realize is that whether it be Wiccan, whether it be witchcraft, being a witch in the 21st century, it's really up to the individual. And I think your show really emphasizes that. Am I correct?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about bringing confidence and ability to the person who wants to live this magical life as a witch or as a pagan, being aware of the surroundings and nature and growth and looking for answers within rather than outside of you because we all feel so distracted and we're always looking for something. And I think the older you get, the more you realize it isn't out there, it's in here. We just need to be reflective and unpack. And if we can make mistakes, it's absolutely fine to make mistakes, but don't hold on to those mistakes, release them and learn from it.
Right. And I've learned that through your podcast. The solo episodes that you do, especially some of the older ones, I really admire because it's really true. You live the entire life of being a witch, everything about you, and you really spell it out for people, at least giving the ideas of directions people can take. I admire that because at least, it's not just a show about witchcraft. Because unfortunately, I think now, even now in the 21st century, most people are getting their ideas of Wiccan or witchcraft through Hollywood, and it's so distorted. It is such because all of them always associate the devil with witchcraft when the devil doesn't even apply to witchcraft, but you actually live and it's a very regular lifestyle. You're just incorporating nature and all into it, correct?
It is, yeah, just being mindful and doing things for yourself and not feeling bad for it. I think especially these times people feel guilty for desiring things, not necessarily consumerism. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about achieving their ideal life and grasping at things that seem a little bit out of reach, but having that confidence to grab hold of them. All these things I've learned through my witchcraft and my paganism. I think I've always been a pagan because I've always been really aware of the world and the trash being emptied and where does it go? So I was a pagan pretty much all of my adult life. And the witchcraft came about 10 years ago now, so I'm well in there. I just love it, absolutely love it. It's enabled me to heal because I've been depressed pretty much my whole childhood and some of my early teenage years until I lost my mum at 19. I think that was like the catalyst, and it was a massive catalyst. And I know if the listeners have heard some of my episodes, I speak about my mum a lot because she is a big inspiration to me, and she died over 20 years ago now, and it's almost like how I remember her has changed because of my enlightenment that comes through witchcraft and spirituality. So yeah, I think it's lovely because podcasting grows with you, doesn't it? And you also change. And like you mentioned the early episodes, sometimes I listen back to them and I cringe because some of it's junk. I'm obviously not know what I'm talking about. And also, a lot of my opinions have actually changed in the last 3 years, especially the one that I did on floppy disks and stuff, like cyber witchcraft, because of my learning. I've listened to it recently and been like, oh, don't agree with that. Oh, don't agree with that. And you can't delete it because that's not your true self, is it? You can't delete your history and you shouldn't delete it. But it is toe curling when I listen back.
Wow, it's funny. I actually remember that episode. I do remember listening to that, but it's fine. I don't see any reason why opinions and ideas cannot change. And that's part of paganism. It's part of witchcraft. We learn as we grow. So there's nothing wrong with that. And yes, your mom, I remember hearing some of your episodes. It's very touching because it brings the lineage for what you practice and all. And there's a bloodline and you're keeping it alive, basically. And I like that. I admire that. And the other thing I admire about your show as well is the guests. You always have some amazing guests, and no matter who it is that you have on, I'm always learning something from them. I mean, it's a wonderful thing. Where do you find your guests?
In the beginning, I used to seek them out and message them online on their Instagrams, or if I've got books, I'd email people who've written books. And I did all right. I did maybe, I don't know, 50-50 on that. But now, I mean, I haven't invited anybody for ages because I have such a big queue of amazing guests and witches and healers and spiritual people. Oh my God, it is truly amazing. And I thank my lucky stars that people value this voice enough to want to come on to the show. I mean, I do find it a little bit stressful as well because I'm really aware that they're waiting either to be edited and come out or to be on the podcast. And I get a bit flappy, but I am just me on my own doing this in my room with no outside help whatsoever. So I am very slow. But isn't it amazing that people actually want to come on? Oh my gosh, it blows my mind.
That is nice. And, but you have that welcoming sense to you where people do want to be on. And because of that, you also won an award too. Is that correct?
I've won Pagans of the North Podcast of the Year twice now.
Twice.
Uh,
Mhm.
and I also won the Hub Hopper Awards a couple of years back, which I thought was a good achievement because they didn't know me. It's the people who run Pod Squeeze, which is like an AI editing tool. They had their own competition, and it was based in America, I think. And I think I was against a couple of other podcasts that were really random, like a tech one and a soldier one. It was a bit like, I'm not going to win this. What the heck? And I won it. It was just incredible. And I'm always applying for awards, but they're expensive. I mean, I can't do many because it's like $200 a pop. So yeah, it's
Yeah, at that
mad.
price, they should just hand you the award.
I know it's madness, but I do really want a trophy. Like I want to have a little shiny trophy just on the sideboard here. So when I'm editing and I'm feeling unconfident, I can just have a glance and it's there, all shiny.
Well, beyond that, you have the podcast itself. It's a huge achievement. And like I said, I've watched you grow as well. And I'm one of your biggest fans. I know you have tons of fans too as well. And I got to say, I really appreciate the show just because, again, you keep learning from it and you are so dedicated to it. And the amount of effort that you do put into it, especially the editing, because me, I'm completely lazy. I just put it up on Podbean, let Podbean do the editing, and boom, it's up, and I'll have your episode up this Saturday.
Amazing.
But, and that's the difference. All of us that do these shows, we all have our way of doing it. We all put our hearts, our souls, our energies into them, and it always shows. And yours always resonated with me because of that. You're doing an amazing job. I'm always looking forward to the next episode. I'll always share your episodes, and that's why I wanted to have you on. Um, who would you say was your best guest or your favorite guest on your show? If I'm not
Oh,
putting you on the spot.
such a hard question. I've had so many different kinds of people on it, and I strive to get especially men on it because I think the witchcraft scene is very woman dominated, which isn't a bad thing, but I do need the balance of guys. So I think who've I had recently? Oh my God, I should have looked at my list.
Well, here's what I'll do. So I'm not putting you on the spot because all of your guests are amazing anyway.
They're also different, you know what I mean? And it's not just
Yes.
witchcraft, it's also like different aspects of spirituality.
Yes, that's very true. But I'll tell you one of my favorite episodes. It wasn't that long ago. You basically gave your audience kind of a guided tour of your adventures in the UK. You visited all of these places and museums and all, and you went ahead and gave kind of like a mini series on it. And I was so, because it was like I was there with you, and your excitement actually came right through the airwaves, and I felt everything that you were feeling. And I was amazed because I don't even have a passport. So for me to get over there, I got to get a passport and all and travel. But you put me there and you walked the audience through it. And that to me was an amazing show. Do you want to just touch on that one real quick before we go?
Yeah, so that was my gallivanting dance there last summer for my big 40th because turning 40 is a massive thing for me. My mother didn't make it there. She died 2 weeks before her 40th. So I always figured I'd even like rock it or proper sink and, like bottom of the barrel thing, midlife crisis. Anyway, it went happily it went up. And a lot of that was because my lovely husband organised this once in a lifetime adventure down south, right at the bottom of the country. I'm in the middle of UK. We went down to Cornwall where all the spirituality happens, and there's Glastonbury and there's caves everywhere and castle ruins. It's really beautiful and very spiritual. And there's a very famous witchcraft museum down there, which I've wanted to go to for absolutely ages, pretty much since I became a witch. So when I were down there, it inspired me so much, and I were writing notes on my phone as I went and sort of talking into my recording and stuff in hope to keep hold of the excitement of the time. And I think I did a good job of that. It
That
was it
you
was
did.
amazing. It was life changing, and I see why people are drawn to that area, especially like Glastonbury and stuff with the sacred wells and the Arthur of the Round Table. You know, like the Knights Round Table and stuff. There's a lot of history there, and even though I'm proudly Northern, and I would never move from Yorkshire, West Yorkshire. If I were going to move anywhere, I'd probably move to the coast or move to Glastonbury because it really is magic down there. It's beautiful.
And it certainly is, and I only know that because of your episodes. You really brought the audience there, and it was much appreciated. So why don't you tell my audience where you can be found?
So I'm the Bell Witch podcast on Instagram, separated by underscores. My podcast is absolutely everywhere. I'm always working hard, finding new hosts, new platforms, new apps to put it on. So if you Google the Bell Witch podcast, it should be there at the top amongst the actual Bell Witch, which was a thing I didn't know about when I picked my name. So I run with that, and my trailer is kind of taking the mick a little bit about not that Bell Witch, this Bell Witch.
As there's two famous Bell witches.
There
I
is. I
think you're
didn't
more
know that.
famous.
I don't know. Not quite as scary.
True, very true. But yes, to everybody out there listening, please listen to the Bell Witch podcast. I think everybody has something to learn from it, whether you're curious about witchcraft, or if you are, into the Wiccan lifestyle, or even witchcraft for that matter, or paganism. You can always learn. And Emma always brings a wonderful show. It's very relaxing. There's always fantastic guests on there. So go ahead and find the Bell Witch podcast. Listen, follow, like, and I want to seriously thank you for coming on the show. You're an amazing, you are the friendly green witch, and I love it very much. And I really extend all of my listeners to you, everything. I thank you for this. I really do.
Yeah, you're welcome. And back at you because I do believe the Eye Opener Society was the first ever podcast to shout me out and actively support me when I had no idea what I was doing. And that really meant quite a big deal to me at the time and now because the beauty in podcasting and the magic is sharing the audiences and telling each other, all your audiences about each other. And I think sometimes that gets lost in the grand scheme of capitalism and like I want to be successful and keep everybody down. No, no, let's change that. Let's raise everybody up because there's so much success and it's available to everybody. And that's magic.
That certainly is. And the whole world is magic, and you are part of that magic. Again, I thank you very much. And I thank you, the audience, for tuning in. Very much appreciated. And again, the Bell Witch podcast, find her on all platforms. Follow her on Instagram, follow her on Facebook, like, follow, and enjoy. Thank you again, and we'll see you again soon.